Welcome back. I'm Tyler, and welcome to another installment of the Ruffle Report, your #1 news source for all the ruffle and none of the kerfuffle, at least until the next time I decide to violate someone's human rights in the back of a Waffle House. And at the top of the segment, Angelic Pretty has produced a Princess Peach dress set for the Parco and Nintendo collaboration campaign. It's a made-to-order that will be up for reservation between July 1st and 20th, Japan time, and it's selling for roughly $600, which is confusing given that the target market should be dead broke weebs and people who can't stop talking about side-scrollers to the detriment of everyone within earshot. The second group would rather spend that money on fighting a 40-year-old man with arthritis for a used copy of Chrono Trigger on eBay. And the first group is preoccupied with selling their plasma to pay rent this month after they spent all their cash on tiny women with tits the size of a Boeing 747. Whatever the case, that tiara is cheap and I hate it. And while we're on the subject of royalty cosplay, Alice in the Pirates Queen of Hearts JSK is up for reservation until July 5th. It comes in ivory or black, and the bodice heart, peplum, and waist bow are removable, meaning that all you'll need to launder this dress is a NASCAR pit crew and a washing machine with a mode specifically marked for dresses that have 25 loose buttons and are made out of hubris and pride before the fall. God help you if you have a top loader, because this machine will beat it like a Yakushima macaque, which is to say 4 times per hour. This has been your monkey wank fact for the evening. I had to learn this, and now so do you. Speaking of things that make no sense, BTSSB's original Hawase embroidery doll series suggests the existence of a derivative Hawase embroidery doll copyright violation, a new Coke-style redux that was received incredibly poorly, or the reclamation of their intellectual property after it was appropriated and immediately turned into a Harry Draco BL fanfiction, limit included, and the all-caps disclaimer reads, "I do not own HP, please no sue." Yes, I just had a stroke. No, I don't want to talk about it. And taking a sharp turn back into the realms of sanity, this series comes in a really cute JSK, an OP with detachable sleeves, and both of them will be up for reservation until July 1st, with delivery expected to be sometime in January of 2022. This reporter does not have the patience to wait an entire gestational period for things that do not have ponies on them, so I will not be buying it, but I do hope this makes a bunch of old schoolers' hearts go doki doki, mostly because their pacemakers could use the assistance and their grandchildren haven't visited in 30 years. This is why human offspring are not a good investment for retirement. There's no guarantee you won't pop out the next Boston Strangler. Better to put that dough in a diversified stock portfolio and have it obliterated in the impending economic collapse than to have a child that thinks middle parts are superior. I mean, either way you end up poor, but at least you won't be woken up on a Sunday morning by screaming that isn't your own. I forgot what we were talking about. Oh yeah, princess dresses for people who approximate their serotonin with outlandish costumery. Well, baby's Usakunya-chan's Sweet Cafe JSK should have just the fix. It features functional apron pockets in the shape of a fracking bunny bear, and it is cute in every single colorway, that being red, black, blue, and the color that already sold out before I even saw it because God laughs at me from on high and did not take kindly to my jokes about the Father, Son, and Holy Pepperoni. Also, can we talk about how even the model appears to be absolutely floored that these pockets function? What does that say about the state of women's clothing today? I say it says that the purse industry's conspiracy to make us all buy alternative storage solutions is working. Real male allies will lend us pocket space. Let me store my lipstick in your pants, James. Society has decided that I'm not to be trusted with hidden compartments. Back to the point, the bow and apron come off, making this the perfect versatile piece for the discerning interspecies enthusiast. I support Usakumia's genus journey, and lumbering towards our next release, if I cared any less about Angelic Pretty's polka dot series, I'd be a nihilist, so we're going to ignore it. And instead, let's have a look at the re-release of Meta's Magical Stone Researcher's Encyclopedia, a mouthful of a name that I presume was chosen via throwing darts at said encyclopedia while huffing paint and with the aim of a one-armed Yakushima macaque because the other paw is busy up to 4 times an hour, as previously stated in your crash course on one monkey defrosting their salami. It comes in regular and plus size, pre-orders are open now, and it should be delivered sometime in September or October of this year, just in time for spooky season and for all the autumnal colors that this dress absolutely doesn't possess. Points for them also releasing a plus-size blouse though. The bust for it goes all the way up to 68 inches, which should be fan-fracking-tastic so long as they also increase the armhole size to go with it. Meaning that you either have tits that could capsize an aircraft carrier or arms like Betty Spaghetti, never both. So that armhole measurement needs to go up with bust size, thighs, or we're looking at a blouse that is solely marketed at surgically enhanced explicit hug workers or anime love interests who could be used as a flotation device in case of water landing. Regardless, anyone who wears this is going to look like an egg, so it doesn't matter. And turning towards our final release of the evening, Angelic Pretty USA is currently holding reservations for the Fantasy Lyrical Bunny backpack and pouch. I'd like to know whose fantasy this is exactly, because if I was going to dream up a rabbit-shaped backpack for aesthetic purposes, I certainly wouldn't come up with a $200 insult that doesn't even fit my cell phone that I have to wait until November to receive. Delayed gratification is for masochists, and they didn't put a mouth on that thing so it wouldn't scream, look at those dull, soulless eyes, and tell me we aren't living in a post-pony bag world where everything is 2 times the price and 10 times more depressing. In all seriousness, the bunny bag is cute, but I have no patience, so I will be living vicariously through people who would have made it through the Stanford marshmallow experiment. Things would have gone differently had I been selected, and I do believe the headline would have read, "Small child roughs up researcher, makes off with entire supply of jet puffed jumbo mallows, leaving behind a trail of carnage and blood." In addition, I lied about that being the last release of the evening because AP is also re-releasing Little House tonight, and I forgot because I couldn't summon the willpower to bother with it. Looking at this thing gives me a seizure, and the only thing I can think of is some haggard graphic designer dealing with a customer that keeps demanding more bows. This is actually the end of the new release news, and turning towards our special segment of the evening, some poor well-meaning soul suggested we change the name of the fashion for the 700th time since Tuesday. It went about as well as you could have expected. And in the interest of actually helping those of you who are genuinely wondering why we've kept the name all this time despite its many drawbacks, I thought I'd give you a short list of reasons as to why calling it anything else is not going to happen. Welcome to Why We're Not Changing the Name, version 2903, Pocketbook Edition. And reason 1 is that this fashion's name is not ours to change. Lolita fashion, while referencing European Rococo aesthetics, was created in Japan. It would be pretty yikes of us as Westerners to simply rename a thing that we didn't create to serve our own purposes. And no one could agree on a new name anyway, so even if you could, getting this community to agree on it is like herding cats that hate you, and all you'd be left with is a torrent of loose fur and screaming. Stop trying to make Quaintrell happen, Janet! And this brings us to our second reason that we're not going to be changing the name. Lolita as a distinguishing term is already so established, creating a new one would be both confusing and make us all look like we're hiding something at the same time. Imagine all the befuddled historical costumers wandering into the neo-Rococo Facebook groups we just created, wondering why their floor-length gowns are unacceptable, and you have the 5-car colloquial pile-up that's waiting for you on the other side. Nor do we need the Twitter furry exposés that are sure to follow when the internet finds out it was previously called Lolita. Nice try, Agents of Chaos. We're keeping the name as it is. Which brings us to our third and final reason of the night. We are not changing the name of this fashion in response to a literary miscreant's perversion of the name Lolita. A perversion said author seemed to take much satisfaction in when asked how he felt about women not naming their daughters Lolita anymore, meaning he thought it was amusing. And this fashion aimed at reclaiming girlhood and femininity for those who appreciate it should not have to change its name in response to what some pathetic bridge troll wrote in 1955, which was first published by a porn rag in fracking France. And real quick, just to take a moment to address the people who gnashed their teeth and moaned about Nabokov being the victim of child SA himself from my last video, so are many other pedos, you sentient blunt instruments, and while correlation does not equal causation, this is not the defense of the author that you think it is. That's like saying he was physically abused as a child by his father, so there's no way that he beats his wife today. That said, I know this argument is going to be lost on the people who didn't realize that in the first place, being that most of them are suffering from shaken baby syndrome, lead poisoning, and a severe case of should have shut their map-defending mouths and walked straight into the ocean. We're not changing the fracking name. Nothing you can possibly say is going to change our minds. And I'm going to go mainline tequila and fight someone in an alleyway. That's all the time we have for tonight. This has been Tyler, and I'd like to thank my patrons for being the sole reason I haven't been arrested. And should you like to join their number, you can head over to patreon.com/lastweeklolitanews for more content that no one should see ever for any reason. Thanks again, guys, and I'll catch you next time.